school and everything. Or cool.
Interesting. Okay. So welcome to
Oh, you already recorded.
yeah,
Okay.
so what I yeah,
Okay.
so what I normally do is for some clips I do like behind the scenes stuff like
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
as you guys notice, this is a whole different setup to accommodate two people. Cameras over there and yeah, so this is my son Jared and
Yeah.
we're going to have uh unscripted conversation. So
Yeah. My first experience, so it'll be interesting for sure.
yeah, yeah. And we make sure you at the camera.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah.
Okay. Talk to the camera, not at the screen,
Yeah.
which is a learning experience, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, so we're gonna get into this. Any last words before we
Last
start?
words. Um, no. Let's get started.
Okay, wonderful. Hello, my name is Tina Marie, and welcome to the Unbalanced Pedestal podcast. And here I have a special guest, my son Jared. He is home from college for a few weeks, and somehow I managed to talk him into doing this podcast with me. So, hope you guys enjoy this. This is an unscripted conversation that we're having. He has no idea what questions I'm going to ask him. I have no idea what questions he's going to ask me, where this conversation is going to go. But this is, uh, a mother and son discussion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So yes, you want to get started?
yeah, I can get started. So many people have this idea that when they see me, they don't think I have any children.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And I know like when I'm with you as well, I think they think we're siblings even when I was younger, and I'm in college now as well with facial hair. So
Mm,
it's pretty funny, but yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
And then especially with you, your age, you're 20 years old, 21 and what, three
And
quarters?
uh, yeah, 20 and three quarters, pretty much in April. So yeah,
Yeah.
21.
And so they're like, what do you mean you have a 20-year-old son?
Yeah,
So this is a question or shock value, I should say. I get a lot from people. But yes, he is real, as you can
yeah.
see.
Oh, yeah,
Touching him,
maybe
pinch.
it's all virtual reality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah. So how has I guess your adult years have been from the time 18 years old, which is like your legal
yeah,
status,
yeah.
till now? So I guess what, 2.5 years in of being an adult.
Yeah. I think it's definitely been interesting. Mainly because I guess I had the opportunity to go away to college. So I've gotten that experience of where I'm kind of living on my own and scheduling things like classes and making budgeting decisions, for whatever I need to buy for school. So I think it's definitely been an interesting experience for sure.
Okay. And how has it been outside? I know you talked about budgeting it, but as far as being under the roof of my care,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we'll get into that later. But versus out there and just in general, like,
Yeah.
was it a scary process of you leaving the nest, as I call it?
No. I
Like, did you
actually,
feel prepared, essentially?
yeah, I actually do think I did, because I don't think that you baby me. And then also just doing track and going to track meets, I was already, let's say, staying out late, so I didn't have to have a specific curfew. So I feel like since I was already, I guess, responsible in that sense, I was also able to translate that into like my experience in college and just like being able to not rely on another person to, I guess, take care of me.
Hmm.
So I think it was definitely a smooth transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So about responsible, I remember when you were 9 years old, and I
Yeah.
had to make this decision where I was working
Mhm.
at the time, and I wasn't able to pick him up from school
Yeah.
because my work hours, and I had to make that decision. of letting him go home by himself.
Yeah.
Although it was like what 7 blocks away, the daycare or after school care was like 8 blocks away from the house.
Mhm.
But it was like him crossing the street and all of those things. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, pitter patter the chest. But he had his cell phone, uh, and he did well. You know, all those fears as a mother would have, especially with the first child, it's like the Loves commercials. For those of you who may or may not know, but they have these Loves commercials where with the first child, you're like, you know, um, have the whole house child-proof and everything is smoothly, and then the second child comes along, you're like, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so with him, I was just like very anxious and very stressed out about that whole thing. So, do you remember that?
It's funny enough because I actually do, and I remember thinking like even before then, like why am I not walking home? Because it was only like you said around 6 or 7 blocks away, so it was just like when I had the opportunity, I remember it was the brick phone, and yeah, so I think it was. I was like, yes, finally. So I think it was definitely two different sides of that. So it's yeah,
I just now find out this whole yes, just so you know.
yeah.
Really? So you're like, so you feel like a grown up?
Yeah, I think I don't know if a lot of I guess older siblings feel like that, but I feel like maybe I guess it was the fact that I was just older and I felt more responsible in that
Yeah.
sense. So that could be it. Yeah,
Can you guess what age I started to cross the street?
definitely not 9. I'm assuming 13,
No,
younger,
younger,
like 6.
younger.
Uh huh. Or
Close. 5 years old.
okay,
Yeah, I
wow.
was 5, and I technically didn't cross by myself. So, okay, it was unsupervised crossing. So,
Mhm.
I went to school every day, like every other child does,
Yeah.
and then I had a babysitter. And so my babysitter, I believe she lived probably like 3 blocks away from the school. And one day she just never came. Like she
Okay.
came late.
Yeah.
So it was like after all, you stand at the corner of the school,
Yeah.
and all the school children are, gone. Crossing guards are gone.
Okay. Wow.
And so I knew where she lived. I knew what building she lived in. I knew her
Yeah.
apartment. And so I just literally, I remember like very like this happened yesterday.
Okay.
So I'm at the corner with a whole bunch of other people
Hmm.
on the corner, and I see the pedestrian light turn to walk.
Yeah.
And so I'm crossing with everyone else. I
Yeah.
didn't cross with myself. So I'm crossing with everyone else.
Okay.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and I kind of got in trouble. I was like, if I was like, don't do that ever again, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. And
Yeah.
I didn't get a spanking.
I mean, because you were
And
safe.
that's the way I turned off. I didn't get any spankings from my friend.
I was like,
No,
okay.
no. But
That's
yeah, that
funny.
was like my first, yeah, time actually doing something dareish.
Yeah,
See, that's how I was bold back then. I was bold. You see?
a lot younger too. Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
But if you would have did that, I probably would have freaked out.
if I was
At
5,
5 years old, when you crossing the street,
yeah,
was giving my parental history.
I don't even remember being 5, so I don't know what I was thinking back then either. Huh,
Yeah, 5. I think you were in Georgia at the time.
true.
Yeah,
Oh, I was
yeah,
yeah.
you living
Okay,
in Georgia.
okay. I
Yeah,
remember certain things from there. So yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So talking about childhood.
Mhm.
So again, not even prepped or anything. So he has no idea what I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but
You can't see, but the sweat is like dripping out.
it's edited out.
So, what was it like being under my care
Mhm,
as an independent mother?
mhm.
Did you feel there were times where you were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't." She's being too harsh, or you
Um,
know,
If I'm
And we'll get more into that, as far as the context of this conversation.
if I'm thinking back, I don't think so.
Mhm.
Like I guess knowing what I know now, I wouldn't really change anything. So if I'm trying to think back, I know, like, let's say if I've gotten in trouble and I probably didn't do anything, that's probably not big enough to be like, oh, I wish, there was something different. But I think you definitely did do a good job raising my sister and I. So, and if you didn't know she had another child, then now you know. Um, but I think it's been good. So I don't really think that there was anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There was some, yeah. So when you have like more than one child and you don't know who does what,
Yeah.
and they're like, it wasn't me. And it's like,
Yeah.
it had to be one of y'all. So I'll never know to this day the secrets that they keep between each other.
That makes it sound like we were mischievous or something. Uh,
But yeah. Um,
I mean, I guess to return the question now, did you kind of feel like how did you feel like raising, I guess, two children pretty much on your own?
um, I would say I was definitely stressed out. A
Yeah.
lot of that was I came from one, not knowing my purpose in life,
Mhm,
always being stressed out financially,
mhm,
stressed out by other people,
mhm,
and stressed out about myself because for me, even growing up, before I even had children, before I got into relationships, I had like this picturesque idea of what life would be.
yeah.
And I don't want to say the D word, ends in Y. You know who those people are. They, it's a company out there.
Okay.
They own lots of land, amusement park, and that's what I want to say.
Okay. Mm, yeah.
They sold, this dream for many, many young children
Mm,
of what life is like, the white picket fence and the house and the dogs and the perfect life. And this is what that naivete
mhm,
came about. And so that's what I was looking for
yeah.
and not being prepared for life.
Okay.
Like, 'cause I know I wanted children,
Yeah.
but I want to be also financially stable,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
having to, seek out assistance
Mhm,
and, live in different areas. Granted, there were a lot of areas in my life that I lived while I had, you and Kylie.
mhm,
That was great. And there are some places that I did not, there was not.
yeah.
It was just like, mm. So I mean, that was like the real challenges for me was not providing that life that I saw, what it would be
Mm,
when I had you guys,
yeah.
in a nice house and, just
Yeah.
having disposable income and all of these things. And I somehow managed because I didn't want to be defeated
Yeah.
because people ask me like, how did you do it? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just I just did it. That was like the whatever strength I had in me, and I just kept doing it, doing it, doing it. And I don't know, it's something maybe some untapped stores that I
Yeah.
have inside me. Yeah,
Okay.
um, but I am, grateful the way you and Kylie turned out. You know,
Mm, yeah.
you got my genius.
Yeah.
Plus more,
Yeah.
you know, you're in, you're studying a computer science. You're double major, right?
Yeah, so I was gonna do computer science and then math as well, but then they didn't have the classes for the math major, so I was like, okay, I'll hold off. But yeah, it's still pretty fun though. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And then your sister is following your path. You'll
yeah.
be,
It's in technology and the sciences. Yeah,
and then remember I told you about that picture. I showed you that picture of yourself. So when you were sitting up, I probably like the age of like 6 months or so. I was going to school for bachelor to get my bachelor's in information technology degree,
mm,
and I wanted to study computer science, which
it's funny.
I'm pretty glad that it didn't happen. But I've been doing computers since like literally when the for you guys who don't know, the original Apple computer with the floppy disk, was it the 5/8 inch floppy disk is this wide,
Yeah,
like that's where I started using computers. When we started using DOS coding, that's what I started. I didn't realize it was coding. I just, the commands, all of that.
Mhm.
And so I just love doing that. And so all that
Yeah,
went into them,
which
like
is
literally.
it's crazy actually when you think about it because I didn't know that, and I obviously 5 months I'm not gonna remember sitting on the bed and watching you do the schoolwork. But yeah, it's pretty interesting that we all did choose kind of the same, I guess, path in a
Yeah.
sense, or start the same path.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then there was like that picture I also was referencing that like I had a laptop in front of you and you're like on
yeah,
your back, like
yeah,
you're propped up like this,
yeah,
and you're like pretending like you're on the computer,
yeah,
like you're doing something.
yeah.
So I have that picture.
That's nice.
But yeah, like who knows, like the little seeds that you plant, because
Hmm.
there's this quote that they say, that your children are watching you, which is true. You don't think they're watching, but they're watching, even
Yeah.
though it's not conscious.
Hmm.
Unconsciously, all the information that a parent does or a parental figure does,
Hmm.
it really gets to be internalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I had a thought and I can't remember it, but I think I'll let you continue. Oh, I had a thought and I'll um yeah, I'll let you continue, and then if I remember, then I'll
Yeah.
yeah.
So, um, as far as the way you see me now,
Mhm.
obviously you know me, right? I'm
Mhm.
your mom for
Yeah,
the last 20
yeah,
plus years, right?
yeah.
So, have you seen a big difference in the way I speak, the way I talk, the way I communicate,
Mhm.
opposed to
Mhm.
in the past where I was always angry, blaming you guys for everything.
Mm.
It's like, what is this? And what are those? Going back to Blackish, what are those? And just not being attentive, or not even communicative, of what is going on, or, opposed to where, and this is like pre breakdown where I worked at that previous company
Yeah.
and they did a number on me, right?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was a long time to put a lot of pieces back together.
No.
That was like what, 4, yeah, it was a 4-month process, but from the time it was started happening, I think it was
Mm.
like probably a little bit 6 months, but it was like, so from like before
Yeah.
then and then after. So that's like the broke down part here.
Mhm.
This is the pre not
Yeah.
communicating,
Yeah.
and then this is the me that I am, who I am now. So
Yeah.
do you see like a huge difference as far as how I communicate with you,
Mm.
um, and Kylie, but
Mm.
mostly with you? Do you see a difference, and how has that
Mm.
shaped your view of me,
Mhm.
or how has my way of communicating? That's a lot. I do that a lot. I tend to like throw a lot of questions
No, you're good.
at you, but
Yeah.
how has my communication in general have helped you as a young adult?
Yeah. So I would say I guess I'll also kind of string along. But basically, I would say we're definitely always like trying to improve ourselves. So I would say yes as my answer. That I do see a difference because I guess I remember like when I was in high school. I think you would be up pretty early. I would be up pretty early as well. And I think I don't remember what time I had to leave, but I think we kind of like exchanged a couple of words, and then I'd be at school, and then I'd be at track, so I'd come home late. And then I know you were cooking some stuff, and then so I know the communication wasn't as, I guess, much as it is now for sure. So I think definitely there is a change, and I'm not saying that that is your fault because I'm also a party in that because it does work both ways. So I would say that probably what was I gonna say for I guess for me also just improving myself as well. So I guess we both um, learned to do that. So for you, I'd say for sure. Yeah.
And since the time after this, my during my healing process,
Mhm.
and I started sharing, things with you with what's going on
Mhm.
at the workplace
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how people true colors were literally coming out.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to have a person at work, workplace bullying, right? This is the
Mhm.
reference to that. So it's one thing to have one person saying things about you and being passive aggressive, but it's another when they get a whole pack of people that, they always come
Yeah.
at you at from different angles, and you're like, I thought we were cool, and that doesn't really matter
Yeah.
because people always gonna, choose sides to what best fit their interests, always.
Mhm.
And so when I was just sharing with you, some conversations or what things were going on, do you feel that also helped you before you went to college,
Mm. Um,
to better equip yourself?
mhm. So yeah, I would say that initially, I think when I first started high school and I like had a little internship job thing at your place, I remember thinking like, oh, this is a cool job and yada yada. But then I do remember like when like things started to I guess hit the fan, it was more so like, okay, so it's not as I guess perfect as it seemed.
Hmm.
So I guess for me, I do like to like listen to people's experiences, even if I haven't like gotten to experience it, I feel like I can learn from it. So I think it definitely did help. And I know even now you are still sharing like helpful information like that. So it is definitely helpful. Um, so yeah, I would say,
Yeah.
for sure.
Can you say like one piece of advice over the last
Mhm.
6 years that's really stuck with you that I shared that you implemented, or you're like, I remember she told me this and it's been useful in your communication or just in your daily life, that's like in your toolbox?
Yeah. I'd say that's hard to say. Mainly because you I guess taught me a lot, so it's hard to like kind of pinpoint, specifically, especially on the spot like that. So I don't want to take up too much time thinking about that, but I'd say maybe just like knowing, I guess, people in a sense. Like I know some people, like you talk about, who's like your real friend, let's say, and who's not.
Mhm.
Um, and to not just like I guess trust like 100% because you never know what they may do. Let's say not to be kind of like um, untrustworthy of people, but
Mhm.
just to like kind of protect yourself and protect, um, I guess, like what they could be saying and spreading because you never know.
Mhm.
Um, so I guess that is one thing that comes to my mind. For that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like a lot of that comes from, which I didn't realize until last year,
Hmm.
that a lot of that comes from this term called people pleasing.
Yeah.
And which I was like, I didn't know that was a thing I was doing this whole entire time of my life,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
having boundaries,
Yeah.
and which I was like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
That's why I did like a lot of course correction.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so, and that's interesting that you said that because I did not know prior to, when you were
Hmm.
younger, I mean, you're still young, a few years ago,
Yeah.
what I was, uh, expressing to you
Hmm.
in terms of, don't let people take advantage of you,
Yeah.
because, and not take advantage, but also I learned not to give your all,
Mm.
because that was like one of the things.
Yeah.
It's I gave my all. That's, you give the shirt off your back type of person. You give your all, and then you're like, but what did I do? Like, I've been nothing but of support to you.
Mhm.
And so that's where the shock factor came in. And
Yeah.
um and that's where I was just like, you know how I say don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mhm.
So I mean that's a very broad statement, but you can actually use that analogy
Mhm.
into don't put your eggs all in one basket,
Yeah.
because you never know
Yeah.
um, the true intentions of someone.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, that was like, I would say, thinking back, that was like my main message.
Mhm. Yeah, and I know like when you like now that you're saying that as well, like I do remember we were walking past the park one time, and I think you were telling me that like I guess that same thing where if you're giving your all and then let's say one day you don't, even if it's not in your job description, they're going to always expect that from you. So now, if you, let's say, like you said, try to go for a promotion or something, then you can't, because it's like, oh, you're already doing this. Why would I pay you more for it? So that's also one thing that I learned from you when you said that. So yeah, that,
And that was not just that job, but this is several, I think, two other jobs that I had experience. Um, and this first job that I experienced that was in '08. I would say '08, '09. Yeah, you were young. You were like 7.
I only remember the last two jobs pretty much.
Yeah, so it was like 2007.
Mhm.
It wasn't, yeah. So it was just
Or
2007.
yeah.
I'm sorry. That was 2008. So you were still in Georgia at that time.
Mm,
Yeah, you were still in Georgia at that time. That's when I came to New York.
okay.
But yeah, so I was a mortgage processor. I was everything. And I say everything, meaning I just knew how to do a lot of
Yeah.
things. And the position that I applied for was part-time job, cash,
Okay.
you get paid under the table. I'm not paying for that. Not getting taxed. Too
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
3 years has passed. uh, and so the guy I was working for, he was a real estate investor,
Mm,
and he owned a few properties. And so my job initially was to be the receptionist,
mm,
make sure, collect the rent, make send notices, so like basic
yeah.
secretarial. But because I had that experience
Hmm.
of processing mortgages, and I
Yeah.
came in at the right time,
Yeah.
and he was actually obtaining a property,
Yeah.
and so I was like, oh yeah, I know how to do this. So I'm here talking to, and so when it came, time for me, I think it was like months. I was there probably for a year and a half.
Hmm.
But when it came time for me laid down on the line to say, okay, so I like a raise, and this is what I've done, and
Hmm.
he's like, well, basically he denied me the raise because like this is what you already do,
Yeah.
but this was not part of the original job description.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was pissed off.
Yeah.
So that showed me right there, and I didn't realize that I was giving too much, and I too did not realize what my worth was.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's great to help people, but at the same time, to learn what your worth is. Because if you give it all away, and they're like, "Well, you gave it all away, and you don't have anything to offer, so why should we?" And then that's how they hold you in that bind, and they're
Hmm.
like, "Well, you've been here for X amount of years, we're not gonna give you a raise. You
Yeah.
can't go anywhere else because we are, you're comfortable where you're at."
Hmm.
And so the only next courageous step would be to quit that job,
Yeah.
which I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lord knows how many jobs I quit. But there were times where, oh my gosh, I worked for this awesome company called ShopRite.
You okay?
I was a cashier, and at this particular location was brand new.
Okay.
Store was built
Okay.
brand new.
Yeah.
They took a lot of the first employees to New Jersey.
Wow.
We get to, be actually work as a cashier, like active cashier was great.
Yeah.
And so I think it was like what 3 months training or something like that,
Yeah.
or probably less. I don't know. I mean, it's just 95, so the months are kind of not
Yeah.
clear,
Yeah.
the timeline. But awesome job. I love doing everything cashiering and just talking to people in the different departments, because like again we were like the first,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then one time I was just like, I was getting like sick and tired of going to work,
Yeah.
and it's just after school.
Yeah.
I was still in high school.
It's
And I was just like, I'm not going into
yeah.
no call, no show. So that was like a pattern that I created, which I didn't realize,
Yeah.
that I always done.
Okay.
Uh,
Mm,
not giving. They say you give 2 weeks notice. I'm like, what is that?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's technically better to quit than to be fired. So, I mean, it depends on how
Actually,
you look
it depends how you look at it too. Yeah, I mean, if someone's out there trying to get, this is not solicited legal advice, but if you're attaining unemployment insurance,
Mhm.
or you want that's you have to let them fire you. If you quit, you're not eligible. And this is
Mm,
only in New York State.
okay.
I can't speak to any other states,
Yeah.
but that's the premise of it.
Yeah.
So unemployment insurance, there's other factors that go along with it. You have to
Mhm.
work there in New York State. If they haven't changed it already, it's been many, 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 many years since I've been on unemployment insurance.
Yeah. Okay.
But normally you have to work a certain amount of funds within a quarter, and then it has to be for a length of time. So it's like a whole bunch of other factors.
Mhm.
So just quitting. So if
Yeah.
you work there for like 2 weeks, you're not going to be qualified. So it depends on your length and how much your how much you made within that specific time frame,
Mm,
which also will qualify you and determine what your weekly payout rate is.
mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
See, life lessons. See, taught you
Yeah.
something just now.
I mean, let's
That's a
hope.
lot. I do a lot of life lessons with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I will get to experience that soon. So
Well,
life lessons.
oh, it's
Yeah.
unemployment.
No, no, not like that. But whenever she gets to come on the podcast as well, so that'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
that would be nice if she does come on. But
Yeah, and then
whenever she's ready,
yeah,
if she doesn't,
yeah,
it's up to her.
yeah, she can sit right there. We can move it up, but
Well, I mean, hopefully we're in a different place,
yeah,
different scenery.
yeah.
But yeah. So do you have any questions for me?
Um,
Because I've been asking a lot of the questions.
I think what I like to do is I don't mind answering them, and then I guess if I have questions along the way, then I'll definitely ask those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel um as far as me prepping you
Mhm,
with the knowledge that I had with financial literacy?
mhm. Um, so I would say I don't know if you spoke about it before, but like opening the credit card a while back. So I know that's one of the things that I was, I guess, wary of from, I guess, the beginning in a sense. Um, but then other than that, you're saying, how do I feel in terms of like if I'm confident, maybe, or
Yeah, as far as your understanding of credit,
okay,
budgeting,
yeah,
like the basic knowledge of not to get yourself like in too deep into it.
yeah,
Because I know you're still in all transparency. So he still really doesn't use his credit card like once in a blue moon, and so
yeah,
which is he does pay cash, which is great, because he has the cash.
yeah,
But as far as like, what is
yes. So
your
um,
hesitance on that, or is it?
So when I came back, and like you said that there were new cards for me to activate, I, I guess, like for some reason I don't know why it took me so long to just go into my account for my credit card, but I guess I thought it would just be a lot harder. So when I saw on the card, it was like, okay, do this to activate it, and I put in my information, and it let me in. I was like, okay, this was a lot easier. So then I was able to see like where my standings were and everything. And then I guess once I finally get to activate the card, because it was having issues the other day, I think I'll definitely start using it a lot more, and using that because it's definitely important. Um, I know if you want to buy a house, if you want to buy a car, I know a lot of the time they do look at your credit, so it is definitely good to have your credit high. So
High score, yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
And how would you feel? Do you feel confident enough to for me to take off the training wheels, so
Mhm.
to speak, like
Mhm.
of you applying for your own credit card?
Mhm.
Because I spoke on another episode where that you're getting, these amazing
Yeah,
credit card offers that
yeah,
I never got at your age.
yeah.
Because if you go back to that episode, and I was like, I thought I had, was it? I was
300. You
18,
said.
yeah, $300 credit limit with Macy's, and I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah.
And that was just like,
Mm,
just yo, you want a Macy's card? Sure. You get 20% off. All right. And again, not knowing and not having someone to tell me or
Mm,
guide me
mhm.
in that. So do you feel you're confident to take on that responsibility
Yeah.
at the age of 20?
Yeah, I would say so. I actually, I had forgotten that the line was open so long. So I know you said that the longer that it's open, like the better it is as well.
Mhm.
Um, so I definitely do want to check that. It's just I always think about. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do this, and then it just leaves my mind. So I definitely do have intentions to check out what offers I can apply for,
Yeah.
and I don't mind actually just going to the actual, I guess, bank location or anything and talking to someone. Um, but yeah, I think I would be able to handle myself.
So the big boy question.
Uh, uh,
No.
what do, what is it? What's it gonna be?
Jumbo, no.
Yeah.
Um, so what are your plans when you graduate high school? Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, I
What
I mean, I'm planning to go to college. And,
what are your plans? um after,
yeah,
as I say, obviously things change
yeah,
along the way. So
yeah,
what are your plans of after you graduate college?
yeah, yeah. Um, so I think over the years the answer has definitely like danced around a little bit, but the main thing was still kind of the same. So I know like ultimately like I don't mind having my own place right out of college. It's just I guess a matter of like where it would be. And then also uh how I guess the timing of when I get a job. So for example, like let's say this summer I do want to try to find an internship somewhere. So let's say if I get one, um, and let's say that's in another state or something. If I get to continue with them, then I guess I would move over there. But if it's something that's here, closer to home, then that's also something that works out. So I think it's definitely. Um, I think I definitely do feel ready for the real world. Let's say. I think there's definitely a lot I still have to learn.
Mhm.
So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see when the time comes
Yeah.
because that'll be the deciding factor. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I know for me, well, for me it was like when I graduated high school. Well, my career path has been all over the place. At first, I wanted to be an actor,
okay,
and then I was like a psychologist,
okay,
um, and then photography, which I did do that, and then after that was computers, and
mm,
so like for me, like through those all those points, I've always wanted to travel.
yeah,
That was like my highlight after I get graduate from high school
yeah,
to just travel, and I
mhm,
didn't do that. I did do it in my later years, travel, international, which is great.
mm,
And so do you see yourself traveling
yeah,
the
uh,
world and
yeah. So yeah, when you asked the question, I think I was more so thinking about like I guess the career path in a sense.
Mhm,
But I definitely do want to travel, and I know a lot of my friends as well. One of them is graduating this January,
mhm,
and he said the same thing where he wants to try to find a seasonal job and travel in the off seasons. I don't know if I would find something like that, but I definitely do want to travel. So it'll definitely be interesting trying to, I guess, fit that into getting a proper source of income while I'm traveling, let's say.
mhm.
And yeah, traveling is definitely on the list.
Yeah, okay. And then you're given field in computers.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have endless options
Yeah.
where you can work remotely
Mhm.
or for yourself. Um, I speak about this one IT guy that I know. He charges one company $600 a
Oh,
month
okay.
retainer, like
Yeah.
a flat,
Yeah.
just to maintain the servers and make sure everything is running smoothly. $600.
Mhm.
Anything outside of that, he charges his hourly rate is $120.
Yeah.
So if he has to update someone's software,
Mhm.
if he has to reconfigure, he charges extra for that.
Wow.
And he does that with a few clients. I don't know how many clients he has,
Yeah.
but and
Yeah.
every time I talk to him, yeah, I'm here, I'm there. I'm like,
Yeah. Traveling around.
oh, let me just log in into the network. And
Yeah.
he's always, he's in Ireland, he's here, he's with his family all the time traveling.
Aw, that's nice.
Yeah. So yeah.
So I definitely do. I think that like, I guess having this major is definitely very versatile.
Hmm.
And then even one of the classes I took last semester was a fitness certification class.
Hmm.
So if I guess I'm traveling, and if I want to try to, let's say, make extra money, I know people are always trying to improve their bodies as well. So that could also be another source as well, where I'm just training people and doing that. So we'll see. I mean, maybe the next time I come on here, there will be an update.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
So speaking of fitness, I know you told me about that
Mhm.
a few months ago, right?
Mm.
So what prompted you to go into that?
Yeah. So I think it's mainly maybe I guess the professor who teaches it. Because I do work at the gym as well on campus. So I think it was more so like I liked that vibe as well, and I wanted to take a class with her. So I took a body boot camp class when I was in Florida last spring semester, and I wanted to take another course with her, and I was like, this sounds fun. And when I actually got into the course for the certification, I got to meet a new professor who, funny enough, was in theater.
Mhm.
So you said it about being an actor. So next semester, I'm actually supposed to be in a play. So that's pretty funny. But I got to meet new people, and that's something that I do like to do.
Mhm.
So that I think was one of the deciding factors as well. Where it's like meet new people, you can help them, you can they can help you as well. Learning new things, you get to you know learn a lot. So I think
That's
that's
cool.
yeah.
So you're like in the college life. By the way, when we went to, was it your open day? What was it called?
Yeah, it was
The first day we went of college. Not okay, not the first day, but it was like a
yeah, it was a student acceptance day.
yeah, student acceptance day.
Yeah.
I was ready to enroll myself.
Yeah.
I was like, the campus is beautiful,
Mhm.
fresh air. It's on a mountain.
Very, yeah. Quiet.
Is yeah, quiet.
Yeah.
A lot of the faculty was very friendly.
Hmm. Yeah.
Food was good that day. I don't know how it is now, but
I don't mind it. I know a lot of people sometimes complain, but yeah, home cooking is still better though. So yeah, but
but yeah, it's I'm glad you picked that college
mhm,
because I remember when he was in 11th grade
uh,
and I was like, you can go to California and to get that
yeah, I've
experience,
heard
and you
about
actually
that.
found that
Yeah,
upstate New York.
yeah. So um, I think I wasn't gonna go to any colleges either. I think I was just gonna like apply to Hartwick anyways. Um, but then I know when I got one of the other colleges, it was like 8 hours. So I was like, okay, 4 hours or 8 hours for a drive. And luckily enough, Hartwick was the chosen option, so that was pretty nice.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was definitely I definitely get a good experience, and I'm
yeah,
nice. Happy that it was a good experience that
yeah,
day as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what can you say that hard work has taught you,
Mhm.
being in that atmosphere for the last 3 years,
Yeah.
that you have not learned at home? And when I say at home, you're not just in this household,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
just being around the local community,
Mhm.
family here
Yeah.
versus your home there.
Okay. Um, this is an interesting one. I would say probably more so, I guess, just the on-campus environment. I guess like I know going to school, high school for track and everything, like there was like my little community there. But I guess on campus, like you're living with like your friends and everything, you're going to classes. So it's kind of like, I guess, let's say if you're going to a job that's 5 minutes away almost,
Mhm.
and let's say you're, friends with your coworkers as well. I think it's definitely kind of teaching you how to um, either live with people. Let's say if you need to have a roommate when you graduate from college, that's teaching you that. If you're in the classroom, it's teaching you how to, I guess, actively listen and obviously you learn that in regular school, public school, but I think it's definitely just another level of that
Mhm.
that's maybe probably better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like more engagement,
Hmm.
more
Hmm.
uh so compared to high school and college, do you feel it's the same or it's just
Hmm.
like a step up
Yeah, I think it's definitely a step up. I don't think it's
as far as
necessarily.
people like personalities and
Yeah. Um.
interactions and the cliques and the groups and
Mhm. I think it's so going to high school. Obviously, being in where we are now, it's like everyone lives there and they're going to their district school. But in college, people are coming from Arizona, California. I have friends from Tennessee, Texas. So it's like they're all coming from different places with their own experiences. So it's
Mhm.
cool to talk to them and um, even talk to their parents as well. Like it's a new experience. So I think
Yeah.
that's definitely that step up there. So yeah, let's say
So would you say staying locally and going away
yeah,
for those who are on the fence,
yeah,
for those of you who are was it 17, right? 16, 17, 11th grade, junior high school,
yeah.
junior high school, gosh. For those of you in high school in the 11th grade and you have to choose, so this is his perspective of, you know, staying home locally, local college versus going away. So this is his experiences
Mhm.
because I did not want him to stay locally. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
we ain't doing
yeah.
it.
So I know definitely. I know you didn't ask this, but if I would have changed one thing, I would have probably like applied to more colleges, especially sooner, and tried to do like grants and scholarships and stuff. Um, because I know, like for me, I don't mind the loans for now. Because I know something that somebody told me was like, if you get a loan for a car or a house, the bank owns that, so they can take it. But if you get a loan for an education, then you still have that knowledge. Um, so it's like that's one thing that I would say. But as far as like staying locally or going away, I think there are definitely things that you can go. There are things you can do to get around, let's say, the financial aspect if you can't stay um, or go away. But I would definitely say that going away is probably my number one option, and then like staying locally is the next best. And they even have online schooling now. So let's say if you want to still work and travel, let's say, while going to school, that's even possible as well. So you don't have to stay locally or go
Yeah.
um, to college. So you can still get that experience meeting new people and still go to school. So
Yeah.
there's options, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. A good perspective on that one
Hmm.
because you mentioned the online school. So initially you went to school
Hmm.
in person,
Hmm.
and then the
Hmm. Forgot about that.
pandemic happened,
Yeah.
and then you transitioned over to online school
And
or virtual
working.
learning.
Yeah.
Different spaces call different things.
Hmm.
So what was that like doing making that transition? Was it easy for you?
Yeah. So I think it was definitely maybe easier since I was in my sophomore year. I think it would have been even easier if it was my freshman year, but it was a little challenging at times, only because of, let's say, the time constraints with working. Since I would be up pretty early and then I would get back around midday. Um, so it was like trying to find that balance, but it was good that my teachers were able to communicate and they recorded the classes and the lectures and stuff. So I was able to watch it back later on. Um, but I think definitely going to class was a lot better because it's like I'm in this space, I'm forced to listen and not, I'm sitting at home and I'm like kind of distracted on my phone and
Mhm.
yada. So I think there was a little bit of a difference there, but either way, I still did get the information. So that was pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then as far as I guess you said like you're not as distracted when you're in class,
Yeah.
but do you also feel
Yeah.
like the I guess you participated more and you were more engaged
Yeah.
versus and the two you have more classmate interaction, right?
Yeah. So I think definitely one thing that was apparent with a lot of people on Zoom when we had to go online was that they had their cameras off. So I know some of the teachers are
Yeah, a
like,
lot.
okay, please have your camera on because they know that people either do sleep through the class or when your camera's off, you're not really paying
They
attention.
actually sleep through the class.
Well,
Or
yes,
they log
sometimes.
in
Yeah, and then
whenever the teacher calls on them.
yeah. So I know when we went back uh post, I guess the big scare for COVID, um I will admit there was one time like I got placed into quarantine even though I didn't have it. So I was in one of the hotels and I think I had like a 3 to 5 p.m. class and I was tired. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this on and I'll put a timer for like an hour. And I took a short nap and then I woke up again and then I resumed and everything like that. But um yeah, when you're in class and everything, like I do have my friends who are there, so it's cool that we can still kind of communicate like that. And then even on Zoom, like we would use a little chat
Yeah.
and talk to each other. But yeah,
Things I'm finding out as a mother.
I'm exposing myself.
He's over 18, so I can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, yeah. No, but yeah, definitely. So, is there anything else you want to add or share before we close out?
Um,
Oh, I have a one question that I always ask my guests.
okay.
That I've been asking my guests. What would you tell your 16-year-old self? Things that you know today. Like, what
Yeah.
would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Mhm. That's interesting. I feel like I'd probably like write a whole essay, like, okay. But I'd say,
Or say three. Sorry, what would be three things you would tell your 16-year-old self to make it easier?
okay. Um, Honestly, I think everything's turned out fine so far. So I would say probably the first one is to just continue going with your gut and kind of doing what you want. um, the next thing I'd say is obviously like I am kind of starting to invest now. I started over the summer. So I would say probably definitely to like start doing that stuff earlier.
Invest in.
Just anything. Like, well, I know people talk about real estate and but just in general, just investing in passive income and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then the next thing I would say, had it, I forgot it, but I would say, I don't know, just, yeah, just, I think everything turned out fine. So I don't know if I would change a whole lot,
Mhm.
but yeah, as far as a question that I have for you, I would say, um, I know you said that you started going to, I guess, school kind of for computer science in a sense, and then when you graduated with your bachelor's from John Jay, it
Mhm.
was like, I guess, how did you kind of feel once you finally did that?
With that, yeah. So with the bachelor's information technology, that started. I was pregnant with you, so that
Mhm.
was in two 2001, and I did that for like 2 years,
Mhm.
and then I wanted to transition back into going to in person, which didn't work for me.
Okay.
And then so that's where that died.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then when I started John Jay, that was a whole completely different degree.
Yeah.
That was public administration, and that was concentration in financial management.
Okay.
And so for that, I started that in what 11. And so prior to just do it, I always had this desire just to finish,
Yeah.
It was just something that I need to prove to myself.
Yeah.
And so I got in it, before I even chose that college, and I
Hmm.
did my research. There was like another college.
Yeah.
Um, it was a city college. It was beautiful campus,
Yeah.
and it was, I think it's in Fordham, so it's in the Bronx. So it's for a couple ways up.
Yeah.
But with John Jay, it was just like, I don't know why I picked that college.
Mhm.
And I'll say I don't know why, not in a derogatory sense, but
Yeah.
it was a good college
Yeah.
because I learned a lot.
Hmm.
Um, and they work with you and made so much the
Yeah.
flexibility of
Yeah.
what it was and what I was looking for.
Hmm.
The degree that they uh they offered, because
Yeah.
I'm also a paralegal as well.
Yeah.
So I think the two coupled together,
Yeah.
and my strong interest in politics at that time, and it was just like all these different things, and it was a good location,
Mhm.
and like I said, flexible hours, online, and you have in
Yeah.
person, and you know those 3 years that was there, it was a great experience
Yeah.
because I've got to know, work with young adults your age during the day school. So
Yeah.
that was interesting
Okay. Sure.
versus, the working professionals at night.
Yeah.
So it was a different dynamics. And I would say that it was, yeah, it was like a defining point in my life
Mhm.
where I just like, yes, yes, yeah, I did it,
Yeah.
but it was, I've accomplished something. And also realized like I'm not going back to school, but which is
But
funny because last year I was like, yeah, I'm going for my master's.
yeah.
Remember, I was on
Yeah.
that. I'm
Yeah.
going back to get my master's last year.
Yeah.
So that's quiet for now.
Yeah.
But with me, who knows?
Yeah. We'll see. So yeah, I guess I do have two things to say because I know you did mention that like at John Jay you were able to kind of like have people who worked with you. So I guess that is one of the benefits about like I guess going to college itself is there's people there that can actually assist you. Because I know if you're doing like let's say a bigger school, sometimes it's not always that easy.
Mhm.
Um, but my question now for you, I'll return it as well. It's just if you could go back in time and tell your 16-year-old selves three things,
Mhm.
what would you say?
Stay with boys. Boys
Okay.
in trouble.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can. Yeah. Uh,
You expect that one, right?
well, I didn't expect that one, but I can see.
But yeah,
What you mean.
16-year-old boyfriend. Yeah. Um, but then I would have moved to my sister's house. So, which haven't not prompted me to move at the age of 18 and be independent. So,
Yeah.
see, things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, be wary of the company you keep. Uh, Definitely form tight bonds with your friends in high school.
Oh yeah.
Because even like there's a lot of people that I lost contact with, and I wish I had their information, a number. Yes, I have the yearbook, but I'm not tracking anyone now.
Yeah.
If we're not friends on Facebook right now, you know, I don't know what to say.
That's crazy.
And the third thing I would say, don't be scared to be yourself. Be confident, and don't give a F what anyone says or what they think about you.
Mhm.
Because for me to come out my shell, I was 16 years old. Literally, I was 16 years old to
Yeah.
come out my shell.
Yeah.
Um, and I was always shy, but I always had this boldness in me that I was just scared to show anyone else, or because at that time that was what 96, and everyone is in that era. That was like the little Kim phase era, and then
Oh,
they you wouldn't know about that.
that's funny.
You Google it.
Yeah. I might.
That was like Biggie Small. Yeah, that was Tupac Shakur. Like, that was like that era where everyone is into just, I would say there's the real tough. So I wasn't like that tough person. I was just a shy, observant. Even our only time you see me is like when I was with my true friends, and we just have a blast.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
would say definitely be not. Don't be afraid to be yourself.
Hmm.
Just be confident,
Yeah.
and you know, not wait until you're
Older.
yeah, older,
Yeah.
in your late 30s, your late 40s, because because your confidence, once you have that and it's rock solid,
Hmm.
you can accomplish so much more things than just stand there in the sidelines or use it when it's convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely do. I guess resonate with especially with the second one you said, and even the last one about like keeping in touch with your friends. So I know that there are a lot of people who I've met, and it's just like I don't have their contact. And I think it's a lot easier now because of technology. So hopefully, I guess the future generation does that because that's something that is very true. It's
Yeah, community. That's one thing that, it's interesting. I was thinking about this old quote,
mm,
or was a quote or a proverb or whatever. I don't know what they call it, but
mm,
it said it takes a village to raise a child.
okay.
And it's just something that was always said to me
Yeah.
from the time I was young.
Mm,
And when I say young, meaning like in the 80s young.
okay. Okay.
So, it takes a bit, and I never understood that. I'm like, no, it doesn't,
Mm, yeah.
but it does.
Yeah.
It's not just the parents, the
Yeah.
parental figures, but
No.
it's the community,
Yeah.
the friends, the family, the teachers, the mentors. So it does take a lot of people to give that one child guidance.
Mhm.
And this is like what the podcast, going back to breaking the generational
Yeah.
curses of providing information, experiences,
Yeah.
and bringing on, young people like yourself on here.
I mean, I don't know if I'm young anymore. I'm turning 42 in yeah. Yeah. I think definitely what you're doing here is pretty good. Especially like you said, I think a lot of people don't maybe know some of the things that you've been teaching us. And I think it's definitely good to bring that to light. So yeah.
Yeah. So, last question.
Okay.
How has your time been on here?
It's been pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, okay, a little nervous, but I've done interviews before, so it's kind of like, okay, just kind of breathe. And not that this was an interview, but
Mhm.
um, just it was good though. I liked it.
Yeah.
The conversation format was nice, and it's not like, um, yeah, it's not like it's I guess forced. It's just kind of natural. So
Yeah.
it was nice.
Conversational. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm going for. More conversational and not so much scripted and,
Yeah.
like I said, formatted, where it's just like, so yeah, definitely free flowing.
Yeah.
So would you be interested in coming on in the future?
Yeah. I definitely
Do a
would.
check-in.
Yeah.
Maybe like a
Um,
year from now. Like
I would be yeah, senior.
yeah, maybe a senior.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
A seasonal, yearly thing or
Yeah.
annual. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. So any closing words you want to say, or
Um, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and this has been Jared and Tina Marie, and thank you.
okay. So thank you again for tuning in to the Unbalanced Pedestal podcast. My name is Tina Marie, and my special guest, Jared, my son. It's here, for a few weeks. And, it was an honor to have him on here to get another perspective of, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of things I've been sharing with you guys.
Yeah.
So, just to not to say I do things, but also to get someone else's perspective
Mhm.
in my sharing of knowledge, of experiences, and how it's changing his life.
Mhm.
So if when he decides to mentor any other young adults under him, he can pass on the knowledge plus what he has learned.
Mhm.
And this can be with, again, friends. It could be with people that he don't know, obviously, other communities, nieces and nephews of his own, all of these things. So it's just a continuous process of the sharing that knowledge that we learn, so we don't keep repeating the history that we know. And so again, I wanted to thank you all for taking the time out to watching and listening to this podcast. And I hope you have a wonderful and amazing rest of the day. Take care.
Take
Bye.
care.
You want kiss?